What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Switch Podcast, man. I'm your host, Q1 Humphreys, and how about the Dallas Mavericks? Last night, the Dallas Mavericks defeated the Oklahoma City Thunder 117-116 to win that series 4-2 as they advanced to the Western Conference Finals. Now, this was a crazy game. This was a very crazy game. It came down to a one possession. OKC had a 1-point lead after a Chet Holmgren alley-oop. LuKai Delivers bringing the ball down, tried to post up Lu Dort. Ended up losing his footing because it appeared Lu Dort pulled the chair on him. The offense is scrambling, the possession is scrambling. The ball ends up in P.J. Washington's hands in the corner. He pump fakes Shai Gilgeous and then shoots a double clutch three, but the referees called a foul. Now I'm gonna add the clip. Of the play so y'all can determine whether it's a foul or not. But Shai Gilgeous caught the ball first, then caught him on the arm. And the referees ruled it a foul because, yes, Shai Gilgeous hit the ball first, but since P.J. Washington did not release the ball, it doesn't really count as a block. It counts as a foul. Now, after the game, Shai Gilgeous, he went to the podium. He went to the podium in the press conference and said, yeah, this is on me. I fouled him. I'm not going to look at the replay. I'm just going to take accountability. Now, I understand that, Shai, but you went crazy, son. You went crazy. 36 points and 8 assists. 4 for 5 from downtown. Now, if you watch Shai Gilgeous and you watch his Thunder team, you know you lucky to see Shai Gilgeous shoot 4 threes, let alone make 4 threes. So for him to make 4 threes, and it seemed like every three he made was very timely. It was a very big three while Dallas was going on a run, or after Dallas took the lead, or something happened in the game, and a three was needed. Shai Gilgeous made it. On the flip side, you got Luka Doncic, Luka Magic. Luka Magic finished with 29 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 9 for 15 from the field. Now, that's an interesting number. That 15 is an interesting number for me because if you watch Dallas and you watch the basketball that they play out there, Luka Doncic taking way more than 15 shots. He may take 15 shots in a quarter, but to get 15 shots over the course of a whole game and be really efficient in those 15 shots, he also went 7 for 7 from the foul line. That's a sight to see. That's what you want to see if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, if you're a Dallas Mavericks teammate. You want to see your best player being efficient from the floor. Now, we did have 7 turnovers. You don't want to see that, but just looking at his shooting, he did really well. Looking at the others for OKC, Chet Holmgren finished with 21 points, Jalen Williams finished with 22 points. But I feel like the hero of the Mavericks, especially in the second half, was Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving finished with 22 points on the game, threw in a couple of rebounds, but 18 points in the second half. Now, if you know me personally, you know I'm a big Kyrie Irving fan. I'm a big Kyrie Irving fan, so I'm watching the game like, Kyrie, do something throughout the first half. He only had 4 points, no assists. He was missing a bunch of gimme layups, a bunch of shots that he usually makes. And it was like, dang, like, okay, this is not good. This did not put a smile on my face, watching him struggle throughout the first half. But second half, Kyrie came. Second half, he woke up, hit a couple of big shots, hit a big three late in the game that rolled around and fell in. And they needed every single one of those 18 points to win this game. Derrick Jones Jr., He was one of the several others in this series that played a big part in them winning this series. Had 19 points in Game 5 and came back and finished 22 points in Game 6. 4 threes on the game. He was big. Once again, they needed every single one of those threes in this game. Derek Lively, I believe he may be the MVP of this series to me, other than Luka and Kyrie, of course, and P.J. Washington, who went crazy this series. Derek Lively, a rookie out of Duke, came in 30 minutes. Give you 30 minutes and score 12 points and get 15 rebounds, absolutely battling down low with Chet Holmgren. He's been special this whole series. I mean, even Game 3 where he hit, a bunch of free throws at the end of the game to put the game away. It's all the way to this game where he's getting significant minutes due to Daniel Gafford really struggling in this game. But D. Lively, man, proud of you, man. I don't know you, but I'm proud of you, Brody. Looking at the game even deeper, though, OKC went on a big run in the first half. At the end of the first half, they went on a big run, ended up going into the second half up by 16 points. The largest lead went up to 17 points. And I'm watching the game, I'm thinking, okay, OKC, if they win this game, they're probably going to win this series. Because you don't want to go back to OKC with this young team, with the crowd behind them, all of Oklahoma behind them. You don't want to go back to OKC and play them. So I was thinking, okay, OKC probably, if they take this game, they're probably going to go on to win. Shai Gilgeous has been unstoppable this whole series. He's going to have an even crazier game in Game 7. But every time it looked like they were going to pull away, Mavericks hit a big shot. Mavericks got a big stop. Mavericks forced a turnover. Everything that happened in that third quarter was pivotal because the lead went from 17 to 6 at one point in the third quarter, but the largest lead in the fourth quarter was actually 9 points. But Dallas just played a lot better. They stopped turning the ball over. They hit their shots. They started crashing the glass, and they really just made the plays to win. Speaking of the glass, OKC got out rebounded 47 to 31, in this game, and that's been a problem for them this whole series. I spoke about Lively earlier how he dominated with 15 rebounds, but throughout the whole series, it's been Lively, PJ Washington, Gafford, all three of those guys, even Luka, all four of those guys just really having their way when it comes to gathering the ball off of missed shots, whether it's their own missed shots or missed shots from OKC. And that's been an issue with OKC the whole series. The whole season. They could not dominate the glass, and that's why a lot of people, including me, didn't really have a lot of faith in them, because in the playoffs, you got to rebound. You got to rebound in the playoffs, and they haven't done it all season, so there was no reason for us to think that they would do it in the playoffs. Now, looking deeper at OKC, man. Now, I had Dallas winning the series in 6 coming into the series. I did not drop a video because with all these playoff series going on, I gotta kind of pick my spots. And the Mavericks series, I didn't want to come out and talk about a random game. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to come out and talk about a random game 2 where it was 1-1 or game 3 where it was 2-1 or game 4 when it was tied. I wanted to talk about game 5, but I figured, okay, I'm not gonna talk about game 5. I'm gonna wait for game 6, because if game 6 happened, I can either talk about a potential game 7, or I can talk about Dallas closing out the series, which I am right now. But back to OKC. My thing with OKC is Shai Gilgeous was the only true creator for that team. Yes, you have a bunch of guys that can hit a bunch of shots. You have a bunch of shooters and defenders around him. But when it came down to it, only Shai Gilgeous was the creator. He was the only creator, and you saw Dallas kind of pick up on that later in the series with how they defended him. But I think for them to make an even bigger jump next year, which I think they will, they're going to need somebody to step up to be a creator. They're going to have to go out and get a creator. Now, I love Jalen Williams. I love his game. I love his tenacity on the defensive end. I love how much of a dog he is, man. No pun intended. I love how much of a dog he is, man. And I think he can step up to be that next guy for them. We saw him take a big jump this year. I think he's going to make an even bigger jump next year. Now, continuing with OKC. I look at the front office. The front office, you had a chance to go out and get a big man in the offseason. Now, this series showed you why you go out and get one. The Mavericks went and picked up Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington for a couple of first-round picks. Now, OKC has a bunch of first-round picks that they have at their disposal. You go out and get you could have got Daniel Gafford. Imagine what Daniel Gafford would have done in this series if he was on your team rather than on your opponent's team. So, OKC, I feel like they kind of dropped the ball. I feel like they dropped the ball not going out and bolstering their front line, because that was ultimately the downfall for them in this series. Now, with that being said, OKC's going to be fine. They're the youngest first seed of all time, which means they're going to be not that much older a year from now. So they're going to be fine. They will be back. I say beat them now, because when they continue to mesh together and they continue to get better, they're going to be a very difficult team to beat. And this may be a rivalry that we see. This may be a series that we see more often, especially with Luka and Shai Gilgeous being two very young players, number 2 and number 3 in MVP voting. We're probably going to see these guys face off more than once in the playoffs. And I'm if we can get more series like this, I'm very excited. But looking at Dallas, it starts with Luka. It starts with Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic earlier in this series looked very bad. Not necessarily bad because he was missing shots, but bad because he didn't look healthy. He didn't look healthy, and you're playing against the physicality of a Lou Dort and an OKC defense. He struggled in the first couple games, but just like we saw in the Clippers series, he got better as the series went on. As we saw a Game 5 explosion for him and a Game 6 near triple-double from him. He played great, and I think that's going to be very important going into the next series, no matter who they play against, is Luka Doncic's health, and can he continue to play at this level. We don't know how bad the injuries is, but if he can continue to play this level, they have a puncher's chance. Next thing I want to talk about is Kyrie Irving. Now, I told y'all earlier how big of a Kyrie, y'all can see the smile on my face, how big of a Kyrie Irving fan I am, But I fell in love with Kyrie's game because of his crazy handles, his crazy shot making, his crazy finishing, and because he went to Duke. But in this playoff run, it's been his crazy defense. Kyrie Irving, going into last night as a primary defender, held his opponents to 14.7% from the field. Now, that is a crazy low number for a 6'2 guard to be guarding all these guys that are bigger than him, to hold him to 15% from the field. That is big time. And then he also showed you in this game and also in game 3 that if he needs to be that dynamic scorer, that dynamic flamethrower, he can be that when you need it the most. And I think he's going to have to continue to be better. He's going to have to be even better in this next series, especially offensively, because, you know, in the first half he's been very passive, very, very quiet in the first half. But I feel like against these two teams on the other side, you got to be great the whole game. You got to be great the whole game 4 times for y'all to advance to the NBA Finals. Now, Dallas, I'm gonna recall back to my trade deadline video and also the video that I made for Dallas a couple months back. They have absolutely kind of flipped their identity. This was a team that was all offense, no defense. Jason Kidd said at the start of the season, I'm fine playing in the 1-10s and the 120s. I'm fine doing that. But you look at this series, Dallas has held the OKC to some of their lowest scoring games of the season because their defense has become their identity. Yes, you have Luka. Yes, you have Kyrie. Yes, you have these plethora of shooters and scorers. But we have size in the paint now, and they have a real interior force and guys that want to get after on the defensive end. Kyrie spoke about it in the post game interview with ESPN that he told his guys, "I need a defensive masterclass in this fourth quarter. Do it for me. Do it for Dallas. Do it for yourselves." And that's what they did in the fourth quarter. They played great defense, and to advance to the finals, they're gonna have to continue to play great defense. Now, who do the Mavericks want to play in the finals? I would say they want to play the Minnesota Timberwolves just because they haven't been this far before. Yes, Minnesota's defense is insane. Yes, it's crazy, but you got a guy like Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic, if he's healthy, I feel like he can tear any defense apart. I feel like he can do that, and I don't know if he will do it against Minnesota, but I think you have a better shot at dealing with them rather than dealing with Jokic because you have no answer for Jokic. We talked about how good Derek Lively, PJ Washington, and Daniel Gafford was in this series, but against Jokic, that is an uphill battle even with all 3 of them. But that's all I got for y'all today, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Share with y'all folks. We are currently at 92 subscribers. I told y'all we have a 100 subscriber sub goal before the start of June. We've been doing really good with that. Thank y'all for the love and support, man. We out here. Yeah!